All right, well, listen, you guys, once we got all of those things out of the way, and I'm trying to be fast with this, so you can just get a little bit of information every other day or whatever, however you wish to go about it. But it's about working on your ear, okay? You can see I had some work done on my ear. Every time I reach up there after looking in this computer face, I go to the wrong side. Some crazy shit. All right, well, anyways, that's the part you maybe should need to know is that I'm dyslexic. I have a really hard time trying to keep things going in the right direction. There's a 50-50 chance of getting something wrong. I'm going to probably, when it comes down to choosing something, I'm going to get it mixed up. So I have to double check myself a lot. But anyhow, aside from that, we've got our directions. You've learned what to look for. You know that this is the idea that this is a spiritual book and that we're supposed to look for certain things. Now, we're going to get started by talking about the beginning. In the beginning, now I'm telling you this idea was that this business of uh, of what's his name, Adam and Eve. Adam was built first. Adam's representing the lower mind. He's representing what is red. Also, this idea of red is the intellect, the lower mind. That's what we operate out of. That's what it is. Okay, this is the color red. All right. He is also, replicated later on as his sons. When he gets his sons, we get this. Adam and Eve. Adam is going to be the left side of the brain, and Eve represents the right side of the brain. You can't see her, but you see him, and this is alluded to in these stories whenever they're, there's old stories about the cave, this cave of treasures, where when they were in this cave, they couldn't see each other, but they could hear each other. They just couldn't see. But it's just interesting the way it works out. Okay. So Adam gets to name all the animals and all this stuff, and Eve is representing the female energy in our body, and that's why she's associated with the snake. All right, because that's the Kundalini energy inside of us that lifts us up into these higher places in our body, the seven churches. It's seven anything in the Bible, or six, representing the words. When you come across this, it's usually the word even in here because this place you want to be even. And it doesn't mean getting even. It means, balancing your cross, because that's the whole point about going up here, meeting up with God in the first place, is that it takes the lower side of us, our lower mind, and raises it. And it takes our higher mind and lowers it. It makes everything nice and even. And that makes for a lot of wonderful things. One of them is that you're no longer angry a lot, and it takes a lot of, it just sets you up and puts you in a better place and better counsel. So this is an introduction of the higher and lower conscious is what we're getting out of these stories. And that what would happen is that when he was fed this particular, see, they're already in spirit. God, this Adam and Eve are already in spirit. There's no physical body made. There's nothing like that. The way the story works is all of this is in a spiritual situation. And this is how you even get the two of them together in the first place. But she is born of his bone, so that when you find and you hear stories about the bone, filling the marrow, being the marrow for the bone, marrow is the meaty part, the part that fills the inside of the bone and feeds it, keeps it alive. Bone is representing our spirit. She is this bone. That's why she is taken out of his rib and brought to life. And she is a go meat. She's a situation where, this is where the souls are going to be born out of this. And this is how the children come about. You get one that tills the land, which means to work the fields. And then you get another one in here that works with the sheep only. So, you get the sons And this is the idea that, God doesn't accept anything from the guy that's tilling the earth, but he does take the sheep, all right? He wants these spiritual things. So you'll see that this is the idea that this is when Cain kills Abel. This is where, you lose your brother. And in this situation, your brother is your messenger. That's the inside of us. Remember, it's all spiritual. There's nothing real about these people at all. They're all in a spiritual situation. It's only at the end of the stories does God knit them up some garments to wear. They found themselves naked in the paradise, and that means that they are without their garments. And then whenever they ate from this tree, they've seen that they were naked. He says, how did you know that you were naked? How did you know that? So, the whole point of the thing is that, it brings us to knowledge. This tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil, and all this business is all representing this chakra system inside of us. So what you're supposed to visualize is the brain and the spinal cord. That's all you're getting out of this part of the story, all right? Because, it's basically talking about Adam. They're making the mind, and he has to go meet to the other side. And then something happens, and then they were split down the middle. They were no longer, now when she gives birth, she's going to give birth in the suck, and there's always going to be something between them. So there's right now, whenever most people on earth have this antagonistic bitch that they've got going on, and it represents religion. It's the spiritual side of us. That's what this other side is. And so, and it's just as like this idea of the word Sarai and Sarah. Sarai is the beginning of a name, and she's running around with Sarah is the female side of the mind of Abraham. And so you get this idea, that she's an antagonistic bitch with her name as it is there. But as soon as she gets the breath of God in her, the H, then she's cooking with God. And now she's a princess. So this is how it works. You go from feeding the beast to feeding God. And it's just a beautiful situation. And that's how Adam and Eve come about. Okay? It's the birth of consciousness. And there's an antagonistic situation where, good and evil, bad and bad, light and darkness, good and evil. That's the beginning of the pole. That's it. That's what this is. That's how our minds work. It's the beginning of consciousness. It's like a teeter-totter. All right? So anyways, that's the first part of this. Goes quick.